Hey, happy Friday. I'm Bobby Klink, the lawyer and online entrepreneur behind Your Online Genius, and wanted to pop in here today with kind of my mindset lesson or mindset thoughts for the week. And today is a big one. Today we're talking about focusing on the 5%. And if you don't know what that means, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to explain it so you'll understand it by the end of this live, so don't worry. But it really is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I'm a true believer that when we focus our efforts and actually don't kind of try to do a million things at once, but basically say, we're going to focus on these things, we can really move mountains in our business. That's part of my superpower, is that when I start something, I will really focus on that thing. And I have to admit, last year I wasn't always perfect at this, but I got better and better and better. And as I did, I saw things my results got better and better. So I wanted to talk about it. And again, this is kind of one of those key tools that helped me, go from no business to $250,000 in revenue in 1 year. So it's really something that you can implement in your business. So I want to talk about that now. Now, when I talk about the 5%, the concept of the 5% is that you need to focus on what is like the 5% of the work that you're currently thinking about that you could focus on that is the most important, the big rocks, the things that if you get that done, it's going to move you forward the most. And, one of my mentors, James Wedmore, says it's the 5% that gets 95% of the results. I don't know that it's 95%, but if you apply the 80-20 rule, 5% of your effort is going to get you 65% of your results. So you start thinking that, hey, there is 5% of the work that you're currently doing that is most important, and that is going to be responsible for the vast majority of the progress you're going to make in your business. And so when you think about that, you can start saying, ooh, I got to make sure I'm doing that 5%. And that's where I'm putting the majority of my effort. So that's the concept. And I want to talk briefly about where this comes up. We as online entrepreneurs, there's a lot of stuff we could be doing. We could be on every social media platform. We could be, spending time on every social media platform, not just being there, but actually being present there. We could be learning Facebook ads. We could be learning Google ads. We could be thinking about LinkedIn ads. We could think about, who knows what other kind of ads. We could think about launching with webinars and with product launch formula and videos and challenges. And I could go down the list, and just keep going. And we could offer courses, and we could offer templates, and we could offer memberships and coaching programs. And again, you get the point. And then once we figure out what we're going to work on, we could, obsess over things like, well, what is the best software solution for this? And what do I need for that? And this and the other, and go down a list, and it can become overwhelming. And I was actually at a Q&A in a big group with an influencer recently where that exact thing came up. Someone was asking this question of like, well, once I get this done and that done, then I've got to worry about, and had this long laundry list of things. And the person was like, it just seems so overwhelming. And the influencer's answer was that you are basically creating problems that don't need to exist. And part of this is a mindset issue of people basically want to have a reason, subconsciously or not. We want to have a reason why we can't act. And so we use this overwhelm as a reason not to act. Basically, because we say there's so much to do, I'm just not going to do anything. I'm going to throw my hands up and I can't do anything. And that's a mistake, right? I mean, if you do that, you're never going to get work done. If you live in overwhelm, you're never going to get work done. If, on the other hand, you strategically think about your business and strategically think about all of these questions, you're not going to be overwhelmed, because you're not going to be sitting there worried about doing everything. You're going to say, what is the 5% work? And again, so you can just apply this over and over again. Again, maybe think of it as like the 80-20 rule on steroids, but it's the same concept. And so let's talk about it for social media. So for social media, I mean, if you feel overwhelmed, you should say, okay, which one social media platform is most important to me? And then I'm going to focus my effort there. And if I have a team who can maybe do the others, fine. But all of my effort is going to be on that social media platform where I get the best results and where it is the most important to my business. And so you can see right there, boom, you've knocked a bunch of stuff off your list. And then the same thing with everything else. It's like with a launch, you say, okay, well, I'm not going to worry about all the other stuff. I'm not going to worry about learning all of these other ideas. I'm not going to worry about maybe, things that some of the more advanced people in the marketing space are doing. I'm going to perfect this one thing and I'm going to spend my time there. But even within that, you start to realize that as you build a team, you need to spend less and less time doing things that are the manual, parts. Again, as you move up, for example, you should not be creating your own pages. People should be doing that for you. People should be saying, okay, I'm going to, I'm going to build your pages for you. Just tell me what goes in it. And so again, you start to say, okay, if I build a process, all I've got to do then is say, okay, here are these 8 pieces of information I need to create. Once that's created, I hand it off and someone else does it for me. Because again, unless you are a website builder, for example, your specialty is not building pages, whether it's on a website, Kajabi, Kartra, lead pages, any of that stuff. And so as you move up, you stop doing that and you have other people doing it. And that's the phase I am in my business right now. I am creating SOPs for all of this stuff. So literally, all I have to do is create a Google sheet. I create that Google sheet, I hand it off to people, and then a VA can do it all for me, can create all the pages, can create all that stuff. That's where I am. Maybe you're not there yet, right? Maybe you haven't gotten to that point, but you start to see, like, as you move and really focus on the important stuff and get there, then you really are focusing on the 5% and everything else is outsourced, right? And you don't have to worry about that stuff and it gets better and better. But even wherever you are in your business, you may have to make decisions. And I'm going to give you an example in my life that's happening right now. And this is an example of where being under stress and under pressure can be a very good and clarifying thing for you. I had planned to do a pretty fulsome launch of my product, the Online Genius template library, in April. And that was my plan. I had every intention of doing that. I had all these plans. There are a lot of things that were going to have to be done on my plate over the next month to get there. That was what I was looking at. That's what I was thinking. That was my plan, because I had set a plan last year that I was going to launch it quarterly, January, April, etc. Well, guess what? Life got in the way. My law firm business has gotten in the way. I'm currently working on a case that it just came up, and I won't bore you with the details, but essentially I have to put together a defense for a case where the other side is asking for multiple millions of dollars, and we're going to have to go to a hearing, basically a trial, by mid to late April. Well, if you think about that, there's no way in hell that I can do that and then also do a fulsome launch. So me being under that stress immediately focused my mind and said, okay, what is the 5% in my online business right now? And so this has literally come up, and it's what's going on in my mind right now. Haven't made any final determinations, but essentially I think what it's going to mean is fulsome launch gets pushed out until late May. And I will do just kind of a mini launch to people on my wait list because they've asked for it. They want information about it. So I'll do a kind of mini email only launch in the meantime. That's my current thinking. I'm not 100%, but that's where my mind is going, because I'm saying, okay, I literally only have time to work on about 5% of what I had in mind. And so it gives you that focusing. Now, I'm not, hoping that something like that happens to you in your business where all of a sudden you're under the stress, but I will tell you, it really helps you clarify your mind. So an exercise you can do to help yourself figure out the 5% is put yourself in my shoes. Say, okay, I'm in a position where now, and again, pick an amount of time. I can only spend, let's say, 2 hours or 3 hours a day on my business. If that's where I was, what would I do? Do that exercise, and it'll really focus you on, figuring out what the most important pieces of your business are, because it will help you to really focus and say, okay, well, that's a thought exercise. And I know it's not real, but if you actually did that, you'll know where you need to be. Now, it may be that you can outsource some of this stuff and say, okay, well, I can only do this stuff, but I'm going to outsource this, that, and the other. Or it may just be that you have to say, okay, this is all I can do, and it's all I can do, so that's not what I'm going to focus But that's what I'm going through right now. And so I wanted to share it with you. And again, I think in many ways, me going through this is going to make me a better entrepreneur and someone who is in a better position, to offer insights to you, because I'm going to see, say, by the beginning of May, well, what did I do and how did it work out? And did I keep things, building and moving in my business, my online business? And if so, you just start thinking about that. And I can say, okay, well, here's what worked. Here's what didn't work. And here's maybe what I should have done. So it's always a learning process, but we do need to focus on what's important. We need to focus on what matters in our business. Again, a lot of people will call it the big rocks. What are the big rocks in your business you need to be spending time on? And that's where you spend most of your time. When you're starting out, you got to spend some time on the other stuff because, let's be honest, you don't yet have a team to do it all for you, but you need to start thinking strategically. Can I just eliminate some of the other stuff? And then the stuff I have to do, how quickly can I start to automate it or delegate it or do something like that? Because when you finally get there, that's when you're actually going to have kind of, the successful business that you really want. Because all of a sudden, then just imagine if a year from now, you're spending 100% of your time on that 5% work. And you've got a team doing everything else. Once you get there, you will start moving mountains and moving more and more. And it'll just keep growing, because if you think about it, then all of your time is spent on this uber important stuff. The $10,000 an hour kind of work is what people would say it as. And you're delegating everything else. That's when you will just start to see, a true hockey puck or a hockey stick, just crazy exponential growth. So that's my wish for you. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. Because of what I said, if you're someone who missed out on the last launch of the template library and think you might want to get information about it, right now, probably the only way you're going to hear about it in the short term is to get on my wait list. So if that's something that interests you, make sure to go ahead and join the wait list by going to youronlinegenius.com/library. If you get on that list, when I open the doors, I'm going to let you know about it. You'll get the best deal. You'll get all of that, the good stuff that comes with it, the peace of mind, etc. If you're not on the list, there's a very good chance. And I haven't decided for sure. I may just do an email campaign to others, but there's a very good chance that I'm just going to do my wait list. So if you're not on it, you may not hear about it. So if it's something that interests you, I definitely encourage you to join the wait list now so that you make sure to hear about it. But that's what I've got for today. If you have any questions, comments, etc., feel free to drop them here. I'd love to respond. Or you can join my free group, the Online Genius Community, linked here on the page. And you can definitely, kind of interact with me, go back and forth, Q&A, etc. But that's what I've got. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you again next week.